Welcome back, everybody. We're going to make the cat disappear. Abracadabra. And the kitty has disappeared. Welcome back, everybody. It is March the 24th, 2023. As you can see, we have two boxes here today. A bit of an anomaly. I ordered one of these Monoprice Indio OS-20 guitars. These are these sort of Jaguar-style guitars that have the HSS pickup configuration, and yeah, the FedEx guy came today and gave me two. So I'm not sure what's up with that. We will contact Monoprice and arrange for them to pick up one of these guitars because I only paid for one and I only want one. Anyways, I'm going to let them acclimate for a few more hours, but we will be back for the official unboxing and impressions, first impressions. So we'll be back. Welcome back again, everybody. It's now about 12:30 in the morning. It is Friday, March the 24th, 2023, and we're here for a new guitar day. This is an Indio from Monoprice. This is the OS-20, which is the Jaguar-style Stratocaster Franken guitar. It has the HSS in what can probably be most accurately described as polar white. Although, if you go to Amazon and look at the picture of this, it looks like it's blue. But they say it's white. And then if you go to the Amazon questions, two people ask, what color is this guitar? And they write back and say, it's blue. But of course it's not blue. And this was available for the ridiculous price of $70 and change, $70.12 or something. So I thought I would take advantage of it. They only had them on sale briefly, and I jumped because who doesn't like a bargain? And yes, you can tell it is definitely a white guitar, very white. And I'm going to guess it weighs 8 pounds. That's going to be my guesstimate. We're going to very carefully take this off in case we have to put it back on for some reason. So I'm going to turn this off for just a moment because who wants to be bored watching me do this? So it weighs 7.8 pounds. And I'm not going to go into any detail now because it's time to play. So I'm going to go play and I will be back in a few hours, and then I've looked over the guitar and I can get my impressions. Fret ends are definitely sharp. Need some smoothing there, but other than that, the action doesn't seem to be too bad. A little high probably for most people, but I'm sure it's playable. So we'll be back. And welcome back. It is now about 4:30 in the afternoon, and I've just finished playing this guitar for about 2.5 hours. And all I can say is wow. And here's why I say wow. So this guitar normally goes for $149, although there are sellers out there that are asking $250 for it. And at $250, I would say it's a good deal. At $149, I would say it's a really good deal. But for $70, this is an incredible deal. And here's why. First of all, you have to consider, so $70 for the guitar. Plus you get this gig bag, which is again cheap and lightweight, but you would be hard pressed to find a gig bag like this for less than $20, more than likely $30. But let's just say 20 for argument's sake. So you take the guitar at $70, take $20 off, now you're down to $50, and they shipped it for free. And the most inexpensive shipping I've ever seen for the most part is Guitar Center charges like $22. So now we go from 70 to 50, we're down to $28, and you have to ask yourself, how can they do that? and I have no idea. So here's what I really like about the guitar. Again, for an offset guitar, 7.6 pounds is a reasonable weight. I was hoping to get something a little bit lighter, but it doesn't really matter. My classic vibe Jaguar, that's a weird word, they say Jaguar, but it's actually Jaguar, came in at 8.9 pounds. And I had a vintage modified Jazzmaster, and it was also in the upper 8s. So to have this at 7.6 is actually quite nice. So that's a nice feature. Number two, I don't know if you can really see it on the camera, but the tint color that they use for the headstock, yeah, you can see it, and the neck, is a nice honey color, which is really nice. It's very appealing to the eye. The classic Baiju is like a nicotine stain as far as I'm concerned. They just overdo it. They try to make it seem like it's, been in a smoky bar for 40 years, and to me it's just a bit too much for my taste. So I appreciate that. What I thought I was going to not like about this guitar is the beak on the headstock, and I've already gotten used to it. It's how they make these guitars. It's got a beak. Doesn't really bother me at all. Something that's curious, and this is my first Indio guitar from Monoprice. There's no serial number on this guitar. So that's sort of an interesting feature. And there's no country of origin. I'm sure these are made in China, but I thought it was a law that you had to put country of origin. The tuners on this guitar, again, probably the cheapest tuners known to humankind, work incredibly well, really well. They're very smooth. They hold a tune. They're not gappy. They're not too tight. They're not too loose. So, good points for that. The output jack, nice and firm. Good firm click when you put in your chord. The switch, if I had designed this guitar, and I didn't, I would have put the switch up here. I don't do a lot of windmills, but when you have the switch in position number 1, number 2, and number 3, there is a tendency to bump into it. What it forces you to do is to play a little further back, and anytime you're playing on a guitar that's different, and it forces you to be a little more conscious, your first reaction is it's sort of irritating, but it's actually a good thing, because we all sort of go on autopilot when we play. And you do have to pay attention because this is right within the strike zone. What's nice is that the volume knob on a Strat would be further up here, and that would be the thing you'd want to tend to bump into, so just wanted to mention that. The pickups, I'm sure, are I'm going to avoid using the word cheap, but very inexpensive ceramic pickups, which I happen to like. They have sort of an edge to them that more expensive Alnico pickups sometimes don't have. And again, in the world of subjectiveness, there really is no better, there is no worse, it's what you like. For this guitar, these work fine. The nut was cut perfect. It's probably, again, cheap, inexpensive PVC plastic, but that makes less of a difference than a well-cut nut, and it's no issues at all. The guitar is intonated as close as it needs to be. Action's a little bit high, but that's something that can be adjusted. The frets were sharp, but I took a mill file and just ran it parallel down about 3 or 4 times, and it's totally playable. You can see my fingers have the classic, you can't really see on the camera, but they're sort of black. That comes from the strings. The frets are not polished at all. They're actually quite dull, but they're not gritty at all. You don't get any grit at all when you bend a note. They're nice and smooth. They're just not polished. Or they're cheap, inexpensive fret material, and they just, who knows? I don't care. I don't really look for polished frets. The tone and the volume knob work fine. I didn't mess around with it. I'm guessing that the tone knob also works on the bridge pickup, unlike mini Stratocasters. The fit and the finish is really good. The only issue, which is really not a big deal at all, they either didn't cut the body very well, there's sort of a gap here on this side of the neck, or there's some schmutz in the neck pocket, or it just wasn't seated properly, but again, it has nothing to do with playability, and visually that's the only thing that I could find. You know, I try to run my hands all over the guitar because your hands sometimes will tell you more than your eyes will. And it just feels really good. It just doesn't feel like there's any issues at all. And then came the big surprise, which was when the FedEx guy walked up today, and I was expecting him to have a guitar box, and I look, and he's carrying 2 guitar boxes. And for some unknown reason, they sent me 2 of these, which I am going to contact them and give them the opportunity to reclaim the second one if they choose to do so. I don't need it, certainly. I'm more than happy with this one. I'm not even going to open the second one unless they give me the green light and say just keep it, because I'm quite happy with this one. And then that way they can sell that guitar as brand new, not an open box, because it was never opened by me. So again, in conclusion, this is an Indio classic from Monoprice, and again for $70 and I think 12 cents, stunning. I mean, if I would have known that I was going to like this guitar as much as I do, I might have bought a second one just to put away somewhere. For you younger people, you won't relate to this, but for the older ones of you, back when I was a lad in the 1960s, long ago and far away, catalogs like Sears and Montgomery Ward, and this is way before Walmart, would advertise guitars because the guitar craze was going full blow. And they would advertise just absolute junk guitars that weren't even playable. They probably didn't have truss rods in them. Who knows how they were just cobbled together. They were just part of a fad. Kids wanted guitars. They were happy to say guitars. And back then, those guitars were going for 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks. And here we are, 2023. And this guitar, again, I could have played it with the sharp fret ends. It just would have been irritating. So again, it took me 2 minutes to take a mill file, run it back and forth. Yes, the frets could use a little more work on the edges, clean them up, probably get a sanding sponge or some sanding paper, or just a smaller file and spend an hour and make it absolutely perfect. But it's totally playable the way that it is. I don't see any high frets. It doesn't choke out anywhere. Again, it plays really nice. I probably will lower the action just a touch. I might not. Anyways, yeah, as I always say, your mileage may vary. A guitar at this price point, quality control is probably pretty slim. So you can get a good one, you can get a great one, you can get a not so good or a great one. This one is just really well put together. And like I say, just from a personal taste point of view, I did not get along with my Jazzmaster and ended up selling it. I didn't get along with my Jaguar, and I sold it. And now I have a full-size offset, although I do have the Squier Paranormal Toronado, which is an offset but a different body style than this, which I like, and it has dual humbuckers on it, so it's a totally different setup. And the final comment is that Monoprice boldly proclaims that this is a rosewood fretboard. Now, as we all know, rosewood is a wood, and woods come in many species and subspecies and qualities, and they're graded at different levels. This feels fine, this looks fine, it's really dark. It's almost darker than most rosewoods I've ever seen. It could be dyed. I don't think the black on my fingers is from the fretboard. I think it's from the strings. Import strings tend to have some smudge on it. When I was playing this, it was a bit smudgy. But as I kept playing it, they got cleaner and cleaner. So I don't know if this is really a real, veneer, slab, whatever, piece of rosewood, or if it's some kind of composite. I looked at it really close. It has pores in it. I don't know enough about wood to know if a composite fretboard would actually have pores. But it's very consistent in color, which leads me to think that it probably was dyed. Which again, for the price point, woohoo, doesn't matter at all. So, yeah, Although I hesitate to recommend anything because you may hate it and then you're going to come be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. These aren't on sale anymore, so you can't get them for $70, but they may come back. It's good to pay attention. Amazon had them for $70. eBay had them for $70. And then with some kind of deal they migrated over to both Walmart and Target. We're advertising them at $70 as well. So keep your eyes open. They're currently out of stock at Monoprice. They may have one available next week, wink wink, if they take this one back, which they have every right to do. They may just tell me, hey, keep it, it's your lucky day. I have a feeling they probably won't, but if they do, I will happily keep it. So anyways, for the final time, this is March the 24th, 2023. It's a Friday afternoon. The sun is staying up later. If this would have been a couple months ago, it would have been almost dark. And now we have a couple more hours of sunlight. Glorious sunlight. The days are getting milder, although I'm sure we have some more snow ahead of us. Be that as it may. Anyways, very, very pleased with this guitar as of today. Nice guitar. Feels good, sounds good. Fit and finish is probably an 8. Tone is a 10. Yeah, just a nice guitar. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us. We might do a mini review of the other guitar if in fact it stays in my possession, but if not, we're going to go ahead and post this one to YouTube ASAP, and we'll see you next time.